typing.
Like a child, you lift me. You show me the way. Every voice in harmony. Together we pray. Try to rise above reason and hold on to your name. Finding love in the seasons without loving in vain. One heart and one soul, with one desire, one goal, with one voice, one song, with one solution.
All right, everybody. Hello there. Welcome to the Great Transition. We are here with Chris and Seth and myself. And welcome to the Great Transition, everybody. How are you guys? How are you? You good?
Hey
Everyone's
guys, good friends, good to see
Okay,
you.
hi.
Ah, you sound, you
I have a headache. I'm good. I'm all good. I
Seth
just have
has a headache. Okay, let me tell anyone who is maybe is here for the first time, or if you're watching this show not live for the first time, what is the Great Transition? The three of us are longtime Kabbalah students, and we are looking at what's happening in the world through a very unique perspective, Kabbalah's perspective on human evolution. See, if you feel deep down that something's happening in the world and it's kind of different from whatever happened before, if you feel like this century is weird and strange and unprecedented in many ways, then Kabbalists say you're right. Something big is happening. Human evolution is at a turning point. That's where we are. We're calling this the Great Transition, and we're looking at what's happening in the world through that lens, through that perspective. So that's what we're here to do. And for all the usual suspects, hello there. I'm already seeing a bunch of our friends here tuning in the chats. Hey, tell us where you're from if you just tuned in. I see we already have folks from Utah to Turkey and Greece in between. Hey, Ohio. Hey, Patricia. All right, more people are tuning in as we speak. Great. All right, you guys. Are you ready for this? I wanna just
What do we got?
throw at you.
What do we got?
throw
We're
at
just
you
here.
this-
We're just hanging out. We're talking about cool stuff, I think, and we're just hanging out for a conversation. We have some people watching us have this conversation. So
Even from India, Reina is here as well. Hey,
India,
Reina.
there's some interesting things happening on the Ganges lately. We may even talk about that. I wanted to say
Yeah.
something about that. All right, what do you got?
All right. Well, as the title implied to our viewers, I do want to talk about the metaverse, the scary, exciting, frightening, all at the same time kind of metaverse. I mean, the tons of headlines these days about this since Zuckerberg put out this whatever. What was it? Was it a press release video? Something? Anyway, he comes out to the world and says, "We are no longer Facebook. We are Meta, and we are going to find a new way to conquer your time, attention span, and life."
I'll buy it.
With this thing.
I'm buying it.
You are?
I think a little
That's
bit.
a question we have to figure out. Anyway, so for if you're not sure what we're talking about, then Mark Zuckerberg, the head of Facebook, now should be called Meta, basically came out a couple of days ago and said we are no longer just a social media company. We are a technology company that creates that is going to lead the way into the new version the upgraded version, the new level of immersion version of the internet, where we will be communicating with each other not through a video conference like we are now, the three of us, and our friends and viewers watching, but we will be going into a 3D shared virtual reality with our 3D avatars by putting on our VR goggles and wearing some haptic feedback suits and whatnot. And we will, instead of looking at a screen, we will be inside the digital world, the digital reality. And he's putting a lot of, you know, putting a lot of eggs in that basket. Let's say, I think they're talking about like $10 billion they just threw into this or something like that. Anyway, so in his view, that's going to be the future within less than a decade or something like that. There's all kinds of predictions. That's what we're going to do. And it's interesting if you think about the just how deeply embedded the internet, the digital world has become. If you told people 15 years ago, just 15 years ago, maybe 20, that we will be glued to our screens, that work and human relations and youth and children, everyone will be glued to their screens, conducting not just communication there, but their social life, their business life, their entertainment, everything will move into some digital cyberspace. That would be something that would be hard to fathom 15 or 20 years ago. So similarly,
For the majority, there were people who saw this already 50 years ago, that it would be like this or even more.
Yeah, I think Arthur C. Clarke there's a good prediction from him, like a written prediction that really sounds like the internet before we knew it as the internet that we know today.
Sorry. Yeah. I remember even when I got my first cell phone, Kyocera. It was like right after when the Nokia, the brick, like the thing that never breaks, the Russian-made Nokia. You remember those things with Snake?
Yes, I do.
I remember when those first started coming out, and then every kid in high school kind of had this phone, and they were always texting, and you got really good at T9 when you're like, 1 2 1 2 3 or 1 is like a different letter, and you're just like going crazy texting. Yeah. And I remember also
so annoying.
What was that?
It was annoying. I'm saying it was just annoying.
But that was all you had, because also at the same time, even a little bit before that, I remember for me it was junior high. I don't think I had a phone then. I was always connected to AOL, IM, Instant Messenger. I don't know. Am I too young? I'm a little bit younger than you guys, so I don't know if that was the same thing.
Did you use ICQ? Remember ICQ?
Is it the same kind of thing? No, I don't know what that is.
ICQ is like, I think it's like the first, instant messaging kind of. It was kind of a social network
on the computer,
but very, very on the computer, on the desktop. Yes, and you could, start chatting with people. I mean, there's also like the IRC, MIRC. You know that?
Nope.
That's like a whole. Oh man. Anyway, we're not going to go into a nerdy conversation here. When I was 12. Anyway.
No, but I'm saying, I remember the feeling of. What?
You want to contribute something to the geek conversation here?
Because I remember
I had an Amiga.
A what? Oh, yes.
An Amiga, but let's talk about the metaverse.
No, but wait a second. So this chat thing, I remember because you would get home from school and you'd only want to just go home and just chat with your friends, and you're not thinking, oh man, this is like a whole new world, this is a new like universe that I'm entering. You just wanted to connect with your friends and talk with them all the time. You're just for hours and hours just chatting, texting. Of course, there's no smartphones, there's not really an internet there yet, but there was some kind of already feeling within you that like, I don't want to disconnect from that. There was I felt that.
I felt it too. I gotta say that as a, we are like we're very different from our children in the sense that we didn't grow up into an already highly virtual reality, right? Like, my son is already in a different, all my kids are basically already in a very different world. For us, there was the going in. We remember the going in. I don't know if we remember it that well, but we went through it, the going into the digital world, the going into that virtual world. And that's an interesting perspective that we can kind of summon, that younger people or our children, don't have. Um, but I do remember, now that you bring it up, I didn't like, there's some emotion. There was some emotion attached to it. For me, going online for the first few times felt special as a child. I don't know why. I mean, when was, I mean, I was more like a teenager actually, but yeah. But in any case, it felt special for some reason. Felt special. There is today, from a Kabbalistic perspective, I would say, I understand the reason, because, looking at it from a very global perspective of human evolution and the evolution of human connection, then, that's completely, but that's not what the kind of thoughts that I had. I just had a gut feeling that there's something interesting about this internet thing. It pulls you in some weird way.
And
anyway,
that's what Zuck, I guess, is capitalizing on now. It's like there's this new level, and he's taking us there. That's kind of what it feels like. Yeah.
Oh, look, we're not that strange people here. That I see some of our friends, even Hussein. Hey, Hussein, he remembers ICQ in the chat. Same with Hadul and Yetzi. Okay, you see, some people know what I'm talking about. There you go. Anyway, so we went all in geek. So I'm gonna go straight from the end. Okay, I don't know. I don't have I don't know if I have the best kind of chain of flow of cause and effects, cause and effect to take you through to reach what I want to talk about with regards to the metaverse. So I'm just gonna go to the end. Yes, it is very, clearly, when we hear Zuckerberg speak, it's commercially driven kind of venture. That's what we're hearing about. And it's another, with all of the addiction and pollution of our minds that social media is creating, and the shortening of the attention spans of our youth on TikTok and whatnot, and all of the virtual shaming and digital bullying and whatever it is. Of course, let's not be naive here. A new version, a more immersive version of the internet is not going to fix all these problems. Most likely, it's going to exacerbate them. I'm aware of that. But here is what I'm excited about. Everything that's happening in our communication, in the sphere of human communication, is a reflection of human evolution. It's part of the human network that is developing. And of course, I'm drawing on our Kabbalistic perspective here. What excites me is that if we come to a point where we actually use this virtual experience, this shared virtual reality that we can create from scratch, we could use it potentially. I'm not saying it will happen this way or won't. That, we'll have to see. But if it plays out in a certain way, we could be using it to speed up our spiritual development. I'm not saying the metaverse is spiritual in any way, but I'm saying we can use it for spiritual development in a way that's unprecedented. And when I'm saying that now, I hope you guys will help me.
So yeah, hold on a sec. There's no way.
Okay.
There's no way to rely on entrepreneurs. There's no way to rely on financiers to have good intentions in these projects. And even if they do have good intentions, like it'll be great, everyone can hang out with their grandma, the road is a hell road. The road. What is the expression? Is there an expression for that? The road of No, they don't.
What do you mean?
No, the
Highway to
expression is
hell?
not the road of good intentions is paved with hell. The road to hell is paved with good
Oh,
intentions. Or
okay. The
yeah, the
road
road
to
to hell
hell
is
is paved with good
paved with good
intentions.
intentions. So even if they think they want to do something good, first of all, I don't think that they want to do something good. But even if they do it, and not because they're trying to necessarily be evil, but just impossible. It's impossible if I put, you know, someone who's starving in front of you, someone who's hungry in front of you, and the opportunity for you to have $10 million over there, you'd probably go for the $10 million. Maybe not. But if I made it 100 million, you might, so like we're constantly, they just can't, the whole appeal is too big and it's even like a politician. You can't have a good politician because it's impossible for when I mean good politician, I mean someone who loves everyone. It's impossible because there's no way for that kind of person to actually rise through that disgusting, broken system. In order to succeed in that system, you constantly have to make deals. So, for example, in order to get this metaverse done, the kind of deals you have to make with so many countries and lawmakers, you need to get these things through. So we can't count on the entrepreneurs and the money people. It's completely impossible that any politician will do anything good, unless, of course, all of the constituents were good. If all of the constituents were good, then you could have good politicians. But there's no way that you can have constituents the way the public is now, and some kind of good politician is going to come out of that. So when you say that the metaverse will be a way to speed up spirituality,
Has the potential.
no, I agree with you. I agree with you.
That's all I'm saying.
Not because of the people who are developing it, and not because of any politicians who are going to regulate it, right? Like some whistleblower comes out against Facebook and the government. So what is it? It's better that the government is going to run these social media things than entrepreneurs. I mean, that's, they're both horrible. However, if there is a movement from the people, if there's some terrible people saying terrible things on social media, but nobody cares and nobody is liking and nobody's commenting, then those things kind of go away. So it's mostly about the people. It's mostly about the needs of the people. So from the people, it is possible, if there was a need amongst the people, then something like this, something like this is phenomenal, because you can go through, you don't have to build structures, all of these things that normally take a lot of time and resources can happen almost instantaneously, and you can pass through a lot of states very, very quickly in the process of trial and error, and with all these people involved in there, so much.
That's what I want to ask. What is it about? What is it about it that makes it go faster? What is it about about this platform that makes it happen?
Yes, that's what I want to talk about. Okay, so let's just put aside who's
we're not counting on right. We're not counting on any of those guys.
I'm just saying technically, us human beings going into a shared virtual 3D virtual experience has a potential, if it's guided by the right purpose and the right goal, it has the potential to speed up human spiritual development. Why? Okay, let's talk about that. So, ooh, man, my brain is going to a very I don't know if it's too long of a detour that I'm taking all of a sudden, but okay, you'll be the judge. What is spiritual development? We have to start.
That is there. Long. That is a long road. Okay, go ahead.
We have to start there. Okay, so I would put it like this: when we're trying to talk about the metaverse being like a vehicle for spiritual development. So let's define spiritual development like this. So Spiritual development is a development that happens at the core level of our being. That is a level that we call, that Kabbalists refer to as the world of intentions, human intentionality. It is the underlying um, power that informs and guides and drives everything that we later act and feel and do. There is a deeper level of our being beyond our actions that we may or may not be conscious of. And that is called intentionality, intention, that level of intention. And it's unseen by the naked eye. We don't see that realm in our five senses. In our five senses, we only experience our actions. We don't even see our thoughts, right? And we're talking about something deeper than thoughts. We're talking about the aim that guides even our thoughts. To get to develop our intention, to develop spiritually, means that we penetrate that deeper level of our being, and we make something move there at the level of our intentions. What kind of move? We're becoming similar in our intention to the intention of the governing program of nature. That is spiritual development. Okay, is that? Would you buy that for a?
I don't know. Seth, I think, is confused.
First component of the explanation. Yeah. What?
Okay, so first of all,
there's a level of intentions. There's a level of intentions. We are not in touch with it if we don't make an effort to be in touch with it.
Hold on. Let's put it like this. Every single thing that humanity does now is destructive. There's nothing good that humanity does. All of our intention is selfish. And I know I'm not going to check the chat right now. I know there's people disagreeing with me, and that's fine. And it's not, and it's 100% operated by the creator, by nature.
So that means it's good,
so,
right?
Okay, it's good from the side of the creator, is bad from the side of us. From the side of the creator, from the side of nature, there is nothing bad at all. From the side of the creator, everything is one and whole and perfect. From our side, on our process of development, there is nothing that we can create that is good, because what is good in spirituality? Something that's whole, something that incorporates everything, something that is in tune with everything. So unless we are in tune with everything, we can't really do anything good, because I can't see the results of my actions. I can't see the results of my thoughts. I may do something which seems really good, right? But it may cause someone else to cross the street 5 seconds earlier, which may cause someone to get home late, which may cause someone to go to work earlier the next day, and God forbid they have a car accident or something like that, because I did something good today, because I helped someone pick up their groceries. We can't see the connection between every possible thing. So forget about just the fact that someone wants to harm another. We can't even see all of the cause and effects that come out of it. So Asaf, when you're talking about intention, it's not like, okay, I'm going to like drink a water, and now I'm drinking the water, and I want my intention to be good, which is also something. It's a start. But when you're talking about,
it's a start. Yeah.
Okay. But what we're talking about something very high level. We're not talking about.
Yes, right, we're talking about penetrating this very deeply embedded intention that drives all our actions.
So I want to define what you're talking about.
Change there.
Yeah. So I just want to define intention. What you're saying, I think what you're saying is that it's literally somehow upgrading the software on us, so that somehow my thoughts are connected to, even if my eyes don't see every cause.
You're going one step ahead of me here. wait 1 second. Hold that thought. Wait a second. I
wanted to define. I wanted to get clear a little bit about what intention is, because we went from Mark Zuckerberg software to.
I know. I told you
the whole universe.
You gotta cut me some slack here. I'll try
Okay.
to let me connect the worlds. Let me
Okay.
try to connect these worlds, and then we'll delve into
Okay.
more about intention. But okay, why did I bring that up? Because here's the thing: our life experiences, everything that we go through in life. So you grow up, you fall in love, you want to be the cool guy on the cool kid on the block, you want to be accepted, popular at high school, then you have, troubles of an adult person, you fall in love, again you get depressed, all kinds of things, but in a more adult way. And we go through all of these life experiences and life situations that are pushing certain buttons within us, emotional buttons. And we have all kinds of thoughts and emotions that happen to us as a result of our life experiences. Kabbalistically, the reason for any experience that's happening to you in life, your whole life journey, is only so as to push you into that deeper level of being called your intention. All of your life situations and all of your circumstances and all of your life story is actually a journey into your consciousness. It's a journey that you are taking, and in fact you're even imagining it. Sorry, that's going to take a trippy direction here a little bit. Kabbalistically, nothing is really happening, right, in this external world outside of us. Kabbalist Bala Sulam says it's all in our brain. Physicians will tell you that, but there's more than that. Everything that we go through is really just information that is called light, or records of our connection with the light, that shape our perception. And we in turn translate these occurrences, these meetings with that information. We translate it as our life. So everything that's happening to us in life is in order to push us to make some little change at that deeper level of being, called the level of intentions. Human society,
Unconsciously.
yeah, yes, of course, yes, as long as you're not very important, that's very important. If you're not conscious of it, it's still happening. If you are conscious of it, then you can begin to penetrate to that deeper level of intention of your own accord, and you will need much less push from your life experiences, from your life stories, to push you faster. You'll go faster into that realm of intention, because you already understand that's how nature is working with you, and that's what nature wants from you.
Chris asked earlier.
You're starting to see where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
With
So
this
Chris, and now
Metaverse?
I'm finally starting to see, after AOL instant chatter. So Chris asked earlier, how is this going to speed up spiritual evolution?
Yes.
Because when you're in physical evolution, you you wake up in the morning, something happens, you get in a fight with your mom, you get in a fight with your spouse, you deal with it throughout the day, something happens, then something happens at work. And it takes time, a lot of time, to process all these things, right? The intention is not consciously changing, okay, I did this, I talked like this, I got this result, next time, okay, then 2 weeks later, a situation happens with the wife again. Do I repeat the same pattern? Do I do a new pattern? No, maybe it's like on smoking, for example, use an example, alcohol, whatever. Oh, I drank too much last night, I shouldn't do that next weekend. Next weekend comes, I drink too much. How many weekends does that happen? Eventually, after 5, 10 years, 15 years, whatever, you say, okay, I'm going to change my habits. So it takes a long time to go through all of these lessons that we learn in life, and we're always learning them. And we definitely see, like my grandma, God rest her soul, I remember, like at the end of her life, the last like 10 years of her life, every single holiday she'd be like, I ate too much, like she had some problems with her stomach, and I always was thinking to myself, like, well, just don't eat so much next time. But it's like we definitely see, and she was amazing, but I saw that with her even in my teenage years, like like change a little bit, and then that won't happen.
Mhm.
It wouldn't have helped because she had
Yes.
some situation, but the point is that we see on some people how they live the same day over and over every day,
Mhm.
right? And that means that intention's growing like slowly. We would call that like the inanimate level of humanity, because like just in the same way in nature we have inanimate, vegetation, animal, and then the human. Within humanity, we also have part of the strata of humanity called inanimate, part of
Those
humanity
four levels that they're always
veg-
there in our evolution.
vegetative,
Yes.
animal, right, and human within humanity. And so if there is a way to go through these learnings in a more rapid way, that's called speeding up time. It's
Yes.
still kind of linear in a sense, as long as we're still talking about like my diet and things happening in this world and what happens with my coworkers. But there's also another part. Once we tap into this energy with everyone else, into this other kind of system, we start to get almost like an upper mind, and then we can start processing things faster above just my earthly, speeding up learning my earthly habits. But now I'm actually speeding up this the process of humans, of all of humanity's evolution together with everyone. Maybe it's also important to note here that spirituality is not an individual thing, meaning the vessel that holds the upper spiritual light is humanity itself. That is the vessel, not that I'm
It's
going to.
the it's the you can say the soul of humanity, the collective entity, non-material entity that we are, the deep network that we are, that gives us our life.
So to
Yeah.
go through enough a trial and errors in order to get all, we know what it's like with our spouse or with a parent or with someone or with drinking or with smoking or something like that, to go through all, to actually how many trial and errors until we can get all of humanity into one good connection. It would take a long time. But now I see where you're going with the metaverse, that you have a lot of people in an area where you
Oh,
can immediately.
you can okay, so there's two levels to this. There's two levels to this. One, the very existence of us in the virtual world is such an existence that shortens the gap between that speeds up our evolution of desires. It shortens the gap between desire and fulfillment. Let me give a quick example. So let's say if I want to, I don't know, I want to save up and save up money and get a new car, right? Let's say I'm a young dude, 20-year-old, I want to have my first car of my own. I have to work for it. No one can buy it for me. I have to flip burgers for a year. I have to save up. I have to, invest a lot. And then I have to do the research and see which car do I want and all that. And that could take like a whole year of me being
You're always thinking
engaged
about it. Yeah.
in this, yes, in that pursuit of getting this car that I want, until a year in the physical world, let's say, it takes until I get it. If we're talking about a virtual reality that we're all going to, and that is a digital reality where there is essentially no shortage of resources, and anyone can have whatever they want, any kind of thing or any kind of experience. You could essentially, again, we're I'm not
Plastic
going into all
surgery,
kinds
you
of
can change your nose, you could change your
exactly.
eyebrows, you could change your
Just
clothes.
just imagine that
Unlimited.
you can immediately do or feel or experience whatever you want, as long as the virtual world is important to us even more than the physical world. Then that means that human beings are now in a situation where they can immediately gratify their needs. This is instant, the culture of instant gratification on steroids. And it also means, so we're shortening the gap between desire and fulfillment. We are essentially eliminating the whole time and effort.
If I think I will be accepted on Instagram more if I put on a if I put on certain clothes, right? If I get a certain dress and I can stand on the beach in Turks and Caicos, then I'll get like, 1,000 likes. So I have to get on a plane. I got to get the money for the dress and I got to do all that.
Yes,
Then I got to,
exactly.
get in the right light and take a bunch of pictures and, but if I can do it, in 5 minutes and
In a
everyone
click.
in a click.
And
But at
and
the
if you
moment,
think about,
but the
yeah,
virtual world has to be more important. If for this to work, everyone or whoever I think is important has to that has to be important for them. That way, it'll be important
right.
for me. There,
Oh, there's
there's
a
a
whole
there's a
bunch.
Yeah, but
transition
isn't
that has
that
to happen.
but isn't that exactly what is happening, what is gradually happening to humanity? If you look in
So,
retrospect on the last 20 years, isn't that exactly what's happening to youth,
do you
especially?
guys know about
Isn't that
Fortnite?
sure exactly?
The video game
CS:GO,
There you,
Fortnite.
yeah,
So
there
same
you
thing.
go.
So
Yes.
they had a concert in Fortnite. I remember one of my kids telling me about it. Actually, the idiot who just did that other concert where the people got stampeded.
Travis Scott, Ariana
Yeah.
Grande had one
Um,
too. Yeah, in Fortnite.
so you can. I think you can have. I don't know how big is the biggest stadium. 100,000 people. You can do a concert for 100,000 people, but in the virtual world, you can do a concert for millions at once. So the kids are in there, and I mean, as far as the intentions, I think you'd had you, and they also sell merchandise in there, of course. Like if you want to wear a concert T-shirt inside. So let's not get
Yeah.
into how the endlessness of the corruption and
Okay,
just
it is
taking
happening.
Oh, of
advantage
You've,
of
course.
everyone.
you're
But
right. It is
Okay.
happening already a little bit. Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I
there
can
were
see.
millions
I
of
can already
people
see
who
how that would happen.
there
Yeah.
were millions of people who attended those virtual concerts inside of Fortnite.
You know what? Let's stay with this digital shirt thing that you just said, because this could be a good point for us to explain sort of like the crossroads of what can it do. We're talking about, so just to make sure we're on the same page. You were saying that people can, for instance, buy with real money. They can buy digital assets, which is like how their
They
avatar
could
is
buy
gonna look
dance
like or
moves. Yeah,
whatever.
they buy
Yeah.
shirts. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that's a good example. Why? Because when we're talking about this metaverse thing, clearly the people who are spearheading this right now, like Zuckerberg and the rest of them, of course, what they're thinking about is, oh, that's going to be the future. I should dominate it. Essentially, what Mark Zuckerberg is all about is world domination. Basically,
No,
he's like,
he's
okay,
about connecting people.
of course,
Yeah.
in the name of domination. Anyway, let's not go into judging people who have no free choice. The
It's so fun though.
anyway, um, so of course this metaverse, it's like there's this it's a two-edged sword, right? It's a very, very powerful experience that we're going to get into. It's going to be, let's assume that it is going to be the next level of the internet, this super immersive world, digital world, that is going to be very, if today we're already glued to our screens and that's just looking at them, just think what will happen when it'll be being in those experiences. And they're working, by the way, right now they're working on all kinds of devices that will extend and trick your brain essentially to compensate for the senses that you don't have in the virtual world. Things that could produce something that feels like smell, things that can produce taste. Like for instance, you could be eating algae, like, which is just a form of algae that has no taste. It's like eating rubber. But if you wear a certain helmet and in the virtual experience you see a chicken, and that helmet also oozes some scents that go into your nose and stimulates your brain in a certain way while you're eating the algae, which tastes like rubber, but you're seeing a chicken and you're smelling a chicken, your brain's going to do the rest and you're going to taste it like chicken as well. You can go into, these are things that people are working on right now on many levels. Anyway, so obviously one way this can take, and it will take, most likely, at least at first, is the commercial route. Of course, this is going to be, it's going to be, crazy in that sense. You're going to walk around in a 3D virtual world, and commercials are going to appear to jump at you in the form of people that masquerade as your new virtual bodies. I don't know how it's going to be. It's going to be horrible, of course, and it's going to be horrible in terms of addiction, in terms of a lot of things. But in this, the potential that it has, the power that it has, can also be used in a completely opposite direction. If, and I'll just say this very bluntly, if, for example, Kabbalists were to build such a metaverse. Let's go to man, I don't know how to show it on the screen, but there's this
Just show it. Just show it.
Kabbalist Michael Lightman wrote about this just a couple days ago, and this is okay. I'm just going to throw it in the chat. I have this quote here. This was, I translated directly from Hebrew, so I can't put a link here. Where is it though? Okay, I found it. So I'm going to put it on the chat for all our viewers, those who are watching the recording. I don't know, maybe go into the chat, just go into the chat and find it there. So, okay, I'm trying to.
Where are you putting it?
So I'm going to, it's above the limit. It has to be in, like,
Just read it.
It has to be in, okay, Chris, maybe I'll, to shorten, to save time here. If you can throw it into the chat in chunks while I read it, that'll be great. Okay, so here is another direction this metaverse can take if, for example, Kabbalists were to design it, right? So Kabbalist Michael Lightman says this: to enter the shared spiritual realm, we have to acquire a strong desire. And for that strong desire, we need a supportive environment. As an intermediate state towards the spiritual dimension that exists between humans, I would ride on Zuckerberg's platform, leveraging the virtual experience to provide simulations and exercises that will develop a new sensitivity within a person, assist him in rising beyond himself towards the benefit of others in a gamified manner. A deep sense of shared connection will gradually then help us to let go of the artificial universe and move towards the true reality. This is from Michael Lightman. So let's unpack what he's saying here. If we were to take control of the metaverse, okay, but for the purpose, no commercial, just imagine, no commercial purpose, no one pulling strings behind this thing to make money out of people, to maximize their attention, to none of that exists. The only reason that digital place exists is in order to create a society where people can simulate and practice a whole different mode of living with each other and feeling each other. Now, the benefit of doing that, we're already doing that. Everyone who studies Kabbalah seriously does it with other people, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're working on building these shared intentions between us, what we call a spiritual vessel, which is essentially a spiritual place where we begin to feel feedback from that governing force of nature that binds all of nature. We begin to connect between us. We feel that force of nature of connection. We feel it between us. But doing it in the virtual world is something that can hold a lot more potential, because you can bring people above time and space, just like we're doing now. You can put them in simulations and experiences that are just imaginary. You can do anything you
Rabash,
want.
R-
You put them in a whole world. Yeah, go ahead.
Rabash says that in order, so
Maybe
we
say
talk.
who Rabash is for those who
Rabash
may not know.
is the man. Rabash says that um, that to or
Kabbalist from the previous century, our teacher's
right, our
teacher.
teacher's
Yeah.
teacher.
Oh.
So in order for us to come to this quality of love, which is unbounding, which is the quality of nature, which is the quality of the creator, he says we need he calls it the correction of loving others, meaning we need to be able to, if I want to be like the creator, if I want to be like the endless force of all life, that means I need to be loving like that. That means that when I'm busy criticizing everything around me, I'm not doing that. So I need opportunities to actually do that. Like we talked about earlier in our world, like for smoking or drinking or relations with spouse or something like that. Sometimes these things take months or years between banging our heads against the wall. But if there's a method that's set up and we're in some kind of environment where we can then do these corrections of loving others, we can go through them really quickly.
And you can make it like a game.
game
You can gamify the whole thing.
to learn to love in a safe way with
Exactly.
everyone.
You go into a world,
all
we build a
colors,
digital
all
society.
religions, all genders. All you
Exactly.
can be a doorknob if you want. You can tell your gender can be a spaceship if you want, and you can be purple. Forget black and white and yellow. You can be rainbow. Anybody, right? And then within a framework, and it starts out with a very wide framework because, and there's probably strata also within there because everyone's coming at it with different
There has to be
levels of participation.
an
Yeah.
educational level that you go through in order to participate
But
in a
even the
more
education
active
is
manner.
all
Yes.
is all concerts and
gamified.
games and meals. It's not something
Just
boring.
imagine going into a society where the rule is that everyone acts like that law of nature towards each other. We're trying to embody the laws of nature of this perfect reciprocity, harmony, and unconditional bestowal that exists in nature across all the parts of nature. We're trying to consciously mimic that. In the physical world, that's a lot harder to do. In
Why? Because it's
a
face to
made
face
from
with somebody.
scratch,
I'm face to face and I feel
what?
pressure. Or why? Why is that harder to do?
Not just that, to bring the people together, create that situation.
The whole
There's
package. Okay, yeah.
the whole package, everything,
and also
and what you can do with them. Yeah.
You also have the issue of every religion says I'm about love. Like that, we don't know, the Kabbalists don't have any kind of monopoly on saying the answer is love, right? I mean, like
Right.
go into
Nature
any,
is love. That's really
that's
the
everyone. You
point.
go to any
Yes.
religion, they all say that. To have a method of how to do it, and a method meaning we do it is done like this. So
Meaning,
it's
show
not
me
just
hate. Is that what you mean?
no.
How am I supposed to know what? How am I supposed to know what love is then? Because then
hold
love
on,
could just
hold
be
on.
another.
Not getting into how we're going to do it. Just the point is that in an environment like this, you in a virtual environment like this, like we talked about with school, get Neil deGrasse Tyson to teach my kids science. Why are they going and sitting in a class with someone who doesn't want to be there, who maybe isn't great at their job? Just get the greatest scientist, whoever it is, and have them teach 1 million kids at once, all in some virtual classroom, right? So in the same way, when it
Sure.
comes to spirituality, like I don't want just, some street corner spiritualist. I want something world class. I want something that someone who's succeeded in this already. There's that expression, like if you can't do, teach. No, I don't want that. I want actually someone who did. I want to learn soccer from Ronaldo. I want to learn science from Neil deGrasse Tyson, whoever it is. I want to learn AI from Elon Musk. I want to learn spirituality from the greatest Kabbalist. It's the same kind of thing, and that's available in a virtual world. You could even say it's available now, but we'd be way more immersive in the way that
Yes,
we're talking about it.
I think here's the thing. The difficulty in explaining this is that for us, for people who experienced what, for example, we're doing in our Kabbalistic retreats, in our Kabbalistic get-togethers, like, you know, we have, I'll just say it for the people who are the viewers who may not be familiar with it. You know, we bring a couple thousand peoples, for instance, before COVID, that's what we would do annually, right? A few thousand peoples, all different cultures, political views, colors, genders, whatever. As long as they have this purpose in mind and they have some prior education about what this society is about and what the goal of it is, we bring all of them into a few days where everyone in that space, in that shared space for a few days, is working on just helping each other rise spiritually. And that's the signal that's radiating to you from everyone in your environment. And we know it on our flesh what that does to you, how each and every one begins to rise above. You begin to be free from self-concern all of a sudden. You begin to be relieved from always being on the lookout for your personal interests, because suddenly you feel that there is this sort of this friendly, loving, dare I say, environment around you. And then you can begin to go deeper on the level of intentions, on your own intentions. You begin to penetrate to that layer much more easily because the environment is supportive around you, and it gives you everything that you need, all the support you need in order to engage with it. Our regular world, in contrast, is a world where you go out to your day and you have to put on all those shields, and arrows of hostility are attacking you every moment, and you feel like you have to guard yourself every second. You can't even think for a moment of what it means to live outside of your self-interest in that intention of bestowal, in that which is the totality of nature. All the rest of nature acts like that. So in a virtual metaverse, we could take that experience and really put it on steroids and magnify it and bring millions of people to do that and experience this. And as Kabbalist Michael Lightman writes, by having this deep shared sense of connection that's brewing between us, we will gradually leave the virtual world. We won't even need it, because it'll just serve us as a jumping springboard, as a passageway, as like an intermediate stage that helped us simulate what it's like to detach from personal interests and to detach from matter. Ultimately, that's also a quality of the virtual world, that you live outside your physical body, which is what happens in spirituality. Anyway, I think there's just, I don't know if we manage
hold on. If in the forget
Yeah.
about spirituality for a second, okay? So you're
Okay.
in this virtual world. If so much of our pleasure comes from measuring, right? Like I see somebody else, they got these certain sneaks. I want those certain sneaks. I get those sneakers. I walk outside. I can't wait to go to school tomorrow or to go to work tomorrow for people to see me in my new sneaks, right?
And you get one scuff on them and it ruins your whole day.
But it's right. It's like but what happens if I want the sneaks and then I get the sneaks right away? What happens if you're in that virtual world? Hold on, you're in that virtual world and you see someone's got a cool haircut and like boom, like like a billion people have the same haircut in a second. And then like I see someone in the virtual world with certain sneakers I want, and then like a billion people have those sneaks in a second. Like you get to a point, I'm thinking, where everything becomes very homogenous as far as the Or maybe it doesn't actually become homogenous. If it's sped up fast enough, it would just become like the forest, right? Like the parrots would become the parrots, the monkeys would become the monkeys, the rhinos. Everyone would kind of, I'm a non-binary, purple-haired, whatever. Like all of them would end up on that tree over there, and all these ones would end up in that cave over there. Like each one would just
Right? You can be
go
what you
into.
whatever
That's
you
what
want.
Asaf was saying.
And
It was going to get worse. Even he said it could potentially get even worse before it gets better.
Because this,
No, but what I mean is-
so Seth is taking us again a step backwards now. We're putting the spiritual.
I'm
vision
going
away
backward
for a
in
second.
order
Okay.
in
No-
order
no
to
problem,
go
no
back
problem.
forward and
Sure.
see it even more clear. Because what I'm
Just-
saying is, if
yeah.
everyone in there, before we get to spirituality, all of the ones who want purple hair, boom, they got purple hair, right? Then someone else gets blue hair, boom, they got purple hair. At a certain point, you come to some kind of equilibrium because everyone gets what they want, and there is some kind of feeling of what is.
You get to emptiness, man. This is what
That's it.
Okay, so let's kind
Because if I can have the hair, I got the hair. Then tomorrow I got the clothes, and then I got the this, and it's like at a certain point, I'm not getting pleasure from that anymore.
The only way to
in
slow
other
it down
words-
is currency, which I'm sure there already are a bunch of currencies ready to put into action. But go ahead, wait, Asaf. I want to hear this because this is also
yes, you're right. But ultimately, Zuckerberg's version of the metaverse, not the Kabbalistic version of the metaverse, which we talked about for a few minutes, but the regular commercial version of the metaverse, the egoistic version of the metaverse, is just going to lead us faster into emptiness, because it shortens the gap between desire and fulfillment. We will be just, look at what happens with TikTok, for example, right? Look at which is the evolution of social media, right? In the beginning, social media was like, I'm putting a post, a few people see it. Wow, that's a thing. Then gradually, actually, we can put videos there. Actually, we can make them short videos. Actually,
make
we
them
can
be
just
short.
Swipe.
Yeah,
Force
them to be shorter.
We can make. Yeah, exactly. Force them to be shorter. Force the character limit. Force the. This is how social media. Just naturally in the egoistic world, in the normal egoistic world, that's what happens. Shortening our attention spans because we want to get to the pleasure ASAP as fast as possible. We want to shorten the time and the effort it takes, and we're trying to use the virtual world in that way. And what happens today? So people switch these TikTok worlds. Every few seconds, you're in a completely different universe, like a different thing, different media coming from a different person. All of a sudden, you just go crazy because you're like a kid in a candy store. That's what the social media is happening. Probably, I'm for sure that's what's going to happen with the Zuckerberg metaverse as well.
What, like
it'll be
flying from
commercially
one?
driven.
I'm floating in space, and then I feel like being in the desert. What do you mean?
Just think about it. Why would you go to the metaverse? Just like why would you go to social media? To get pleasure. And that's it. There's no development involved. There's no ascension. There's nothing. There's no evolution involved besides just getting pleasure. The faster you get it and the more of it you get it, the more you will stay on the platform. So you will ultimately, there will be, like you say, currency will slow it down, but ultimately they will have to offer something that is more than what people already have. So by nature of things, after a month, 2 year, to another year, and so on, it will just get to a point where people will use it in the most destructive, abusive way, just like social media is doing to us today. That's what's going to happen with the ordinary metaverse. And then maybe before that, if consciousness will spread, and what we're talking about here that vision will spread faster. But otherwise, maybe after some emptiness, we'll have to come to a point where, okay, you know what? Maybe we can use this whole virtual experience in a completely different way. How about we actually use it in a purposeful way? How about we actually use it to create the dream-like society that we can be? And that's where you go into a completely different vision of using the metaverse, which is what we talked about.
So
Um,
at the end, the spiritual reality does not take place on the software. And the end, it's it is an attain. It's called attainment, which mean in the books it means like in your hand, like you actually hold you. It's yours. You own it. You feel it. You've built it in your own perception. However, just like with kids, when we want them to learn how to work in the kitchen, we give them, like wooden fruits, like every little kid has some, like you have that probably there too. Like you have like a little pretend kitchen, or a little pretend
yes.
car.
Oh, I totally have that here. We have a daycare here. My wife runs a daycare. I totally know
Right.
what you're
So
talking
in the
about.
same way that we're
We have
growing,
many versions of that. Yeah,
in the same way that
exactly.
we're growing people to be adults through these
Yes.
games,
Yes.
these become like spiritual games because we don't know what those spiritual states are, but we can start to. Chris, we just see your little avatar. Am I seeing that, or just us seeing that? Okay. Um, in spirituality, we're playing those same games. That's what
Yes.
in this metaverse we would be able to play games the same way we do with our children here.
Yes, and you go into that world playing those games in a world where you have no problems to deal with. No, I think it will come. It's like a game. Again, a video game is a great metaphor. When your kid goes to Fortnite, you said, for example, right? When
Yeah.
they go in there, they forget about what the world is like and what it is and whatever happens with their body in this physical world. They totally forget about it. They're in an immersive experience, right? And if we're going to be in an immersive experience of a society that where we care about each other, where we develop these shared intentions of concern and care and goodness towards each other, the dissonance that we're going to feel between that world, that digital society that practices bestowal, that practices spiritual intentions, that practices that, the dissonance that we're going to have between that and the physical world and the egoistic ordinary world that we live in is going to become very evident. The gap is going to become, because it's going to be so immersive. And again, that's the potential of this metaverse if used correctly. So that can ultimately bring us to the point where we go, hey, why can't we just be like that? Do that. Like, why do we need the rest of it? So that's the idea. We gotta wrap up here. We have Chris here.
It's late.
Back.
It's late.
Chris, can
Sorry,
you?
I had to pee so bad. I was holding it forever. Go.
That's okay. We have to. We got to wrap up here. I want to leave our viewers with another quote here, and you guys as well. This is another one from Michael Lightman,
Okay.
and it's another one from one of the recent posts. I think it's really relevant to where our discussion ended up in. So can you throw it into the chat again
I'll chop
in
it up.
chunks?
Yeah. Go
Because
ahead.
YouTube allows only 200 words. Okay, I'll read it. So again, in the same context, let's think about this in the same context. So there we go. Our first task is to recognize that the whole world is interconnected, as demonstrated by the numerous global crises. Personal happiness that ignores the happiness of the rest of us is a prerogative we no longer have. Therefore, we must come to define happiness as the happiness of all people, or at least we should strive to do so. Again, think about that experimental society that we can build in digital space where you go in and that's its vision, that's its goal, that's how everybody behaves, right? So we must come to define happiness as the happiness of all people, or at least we should strive to do so. Only if we progress in this direction will we make real progress towards real happiness. So the potential
I
is
didn't get the
huge.
quote. I wasn't able
You
to
didn't get
disseminate it.
the
So
quote. Okay.
it was a good one though. Thanks for that.
Next time when I bring quotes, I'll make sure that I put them on screen somehow. Anyway, guys, that's the potential is huge. The reality is probably going to be worse before it gets better. But how'd you summarize this, Seth?
Is that the answer? I agree.
I think that I just got distracted. I saw some people going at each other in one of the chats. I normally don't see that here. I was just went over to see what was going on over there. We see how so let's take that as an example. Stacy and whoever else is Gigi or whatever. Here we are, people who generally all of us want this new reality, this connected reality, this loving reality. But maybe one of us misunderstood something, or maybe neither of us misunderstood, or maybe both of us misunderstood, and we're already bickering about it here, where we all want the same thing. We see how if we were, in the street, we might turn to physical violence, which we see happening all the time all over the world. And if we had a lot of power, we may make policies that are against others. If we have tons of power, we may start wars or economic embargoes. So we want to be able to move into this place where we can start to understand how do we get along, because by nature, we're all different. Every single one of us is different. The same way you cannot digest any food until you chew it in your mouth, and your mouth is made up of different kind of teeth, and the teeth are opposite each other, and the way they chew, they fit each other, even though they all look different shapes. These ones are for tearing, these ones are for grinding, and then you can take the outside world into your face, chomp on it, move it around, and then finally you can digest it and then absorb it and get energy out of it. And so Gigi and Stacy, you're like two opposing teeth, and between you, by disagreeing and whatever, then from that you can absorb what's going on here. And in that way, we can move into this digital realm where, forget about Zuckerberg and forget about whatever his business and all these businesses. The idea is nature is moving us into this virtual space. In that virtual space, we can learn how to organize ourselves in a way that we care about each other. And we're not looking in a 1-hour internet show to find fault with someone else and spend 20 minutes telling the other one why they're wrong and don't understand what's going on.
Yeah, and the conflicts between us are good. They're
fine.
part of our development.
100%.
We're not, even that metaverse we're talking about, it's not going to be a utopia. It's going to be a place where people enjoy learning and working on.
We need to understand how to use. We need to understand how to use the fact that I'm a molar and you're a canine or whatever. We need to understand how we all work together, and we can do that quickly there. We can go through these processes quickly there, and once we understand how to work with each other, we will actually discover that we've already built inside of ourselves a system which was there already. We remembered it, a system where we know how to be integrated with all of reality. That is the intention.
That's what I was saying about hate. That it's like that when you finally feel that, if we can put them in this good environment where they feel that the sensation of hatred, that they don't immediately, if they have this environment that says, hey, don't run away because you have this hatred, now you have something to work with. Before it was just some theory, but now you actually have some practical work to do. It's actually really great. I don't know, I'm glad I didn't see it, but I'm glad that you mentioned it, and I think that means that everyone's kind of advancing here and going forward, and we're not just like people in a show. Now we're like, hey, how do I deal with this? What's the right move here? That's exciting. Good summary, Seth.
We did it again. Another hour.
went way over time.
Ah. Okay.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. Gigi, hang on. Everyone, let's do it. Let's find that way to move closer and closer towards this reality that's permeated with love and care for the others. We'll figure out how to do it together. We're going to look at the world through the lens of the wisdom of Kabbalah, this behind the embroidery where all of the connections are there. We are live every week, Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Chris, awesome to see you in front of the camera these days. Asaf, thanks guys for connecting from Israel. We will go out with a new song from our friends in the nation, a hip hop group from friends all around the world. Yeah, and Jason's going to put this one into the Great Transition SoundCloud playlist. So, bye everyone.
Against the evil inclination, holy dedication, self-examination, one man, one soul, yeah, we the nation of the world, to be one with them, to reach the light with no end, bringing contentment to him through the love of friends, let connection begin.
No introduction is really needed. You make believe just to see it, but if you feel it, you can be it. Put on the uniform and transform till we become one. Definitely, the length of our days reaches infinity. As a collective, display its features, the revelation of godliness to its creatures. This road is very narrow, like in a telephone booth fighting Pharaoh. But with the help of my friends, I'm tag teaming my ego as I sit with the 10. Where the wisdom go, we go. My society is up the light variety, never artificial. This here is all true original. Like men, Ashlag official, demonstrating unifying fundamental.
Fall in love of the world, to be one with them, to reach the light with no end, bringing contentment to him through the love of friends, let connection begin. For the love of the world, to be one with them, to reach the light with no end, bringing contentment to him through the love of friends, let correction begin.
Restriction, don't do to the friend what you don't want done to you, then blend to the center of the connected perfection, reception, flip, giving everything, feeling above the emptiness, happiness, confidence, best of the best, rest absolutely with the best of them, investing in the bonds, turn on investment to the maximum. Excellent agreement, decision to unite like that. Now sign that contract with these 10 men, with the nation, with nature, always above the hate. To love the friend, to give contentment to him. To love the friend, to give contentment to him.
Fall in love of the world, to be one with them, to reach the light with no end, bringing contentment to him through the love of friends, let connection begin.
Heaven and earth has come, they run, we want be one. Heaven and earth has come, they run, we want be one. Heaven and earth has come, they run, we want be one. Heaven and earth has come, heaven and earth has come, heaven on.
Babylonian separation we lived at. Egyptian slavery for the pharaoh, we did that. We built the temple as one man and then we left that. Also that we learned to serve the world and give that love back to every person from every nation, a light to them. We are the nation, correction lies in the love of friends. The world immersed in that hatred, on us it all depends. We got the remedy, connect and see the world as friends.
Finna get it flowing, now we get them in a rhythm, making me turn away, I wonder how we feel them. Hit them in the riddle, the middle's revealing. Up in them when the villain pull a mask off. In the middle, pumping on my chest, I when I'm feeling these enemies. I'll be the bitter where they sending me, evidently re-inventing me, he embedded me, remedied. Finna get it flowing, now we get them in a rhythm, making me turn away, I wonder how we feel them. Hit them in the riddle, the middle's revealing. Up in them when the villain pull a mask off. In the middle, pumping on my chest, I when I'm feeling these enemies. I'll be the bitter where they sending me, evidently re-inventing me, he embedded me, remedied. Now we all know what divinity.
Love of the world, to be one with them, to reach the light with no end, bringing contentment to him through the love of friends, let connection begin.